Right now, over half of all Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. And here's what's wild. It's not just people earning $30,000 or $40,000 a year. According to recent data, even households earning six figures are trapped in the same cycle. Money comes in, money goes out. Nothing left over, nothing growing, nothing changing. And then Monday hits again, and the whole thing repeats. But what if I told you there's one thing you could do every single week that would make it nearly impossible to stay broke? Not a side hustle, not a get-rich-quick scheme, not some complicated investment strategy that only Wall Street insiders understand. I'm talking about a simple weekly ritual that takes less time than scrolling your phone before bed, and it has the power to completely rewire your financial life within 12 months. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you're going to have a step-by-step system you can start this week. And if you follow through, you'll look back a year from now and barely recognize your bank account. So, here's the big idea. Every week, you're going to sit down for what I call a money date. A short, focused block of time, 15 to 30 minutes, where you meet with your money. You look at it. You talk to it. You tell it where to go. Most people never do this. They check their balance when they're scared, or they glance at it after a purchase and feel that gut punch. That's not a financial plan. That's financial anxiety. A money date flips the script. Instead of avoiding your money, you face it. And when you review your finances every single week, three things start to happen automatically. First, you stop the bleeding. You catch the subscriptions you forgot about, the impulse purchases that snuck through, and the fees draining your account. The average American loses over $200 a month on subscriptions they don't even use. That's $2,400 a year. Second, you start directing your money with intention. Instead of wondering where your paycheck went, you decide in advance. You give every dollar a job before the week starts. This is the foundation of what wealthy people do differently. It's not about how much you earn. It's about how much you keep and where you send it. Third, you create a weekly investing habit. And this is where the math gets exciting. Let's say during your money date, you decide to invest just $50 a week into a low-cost S&P 500 index fund. Over 25 years, at the S&P 500's historical average return of around 10% per year, that $50 a week turns into over $290,000. You only put in $65,000 of your own money. The rest, over $225,000, came from compound growth doing the heavy lifting for you. Even if the market slows down and only averages 8% a year, you'd still end up with over $207,000. That's not a fantasy. That's just math and patience working together. Now, let me show you what a weekly money date actually looks like. Step 1. Pick a day and a time. Set a recurring alarm so you never forget. Step 2. Open your bank account and review every transaction from the past 7 days. Not to judge yourself, just to see reality. Where did the money go? Was it aligned with what matters to you? Step 3. Check your bills coming up in the next 7 days and make sure the funds are there. Step 4. Transfer your weekly investment. Even if it's $10, $25, or $50, move it into your brokerage account or your high-yield savings. Right now, top high-yield savings accounts are paying over 4% APY, and some up to 5%. That means even your emergency fund is growing while it sits there. Step 5. Write down one financial win from the week. Maybe you packed lunch 3 times instead of buying it. Maybe you said no to something you didn't need. This step sounds small, but it rewires your brain to associate money management with positive feelings instead of stress. Here's why this works on a psychological level. Your brain treats money the same way it treats anything else it's afraid of. If you avoid it, the fear grows. But when you face it every single week, the fear shrinks. You start feeling in control. And when you feel in control, you make better decisions. You stop panic spending. You stop emotional shopping. You start thinking in terms of weeks and months. And there's another layer to this. When you make money management a weekly habit, you build what psychologists call self-efficacy, the belief that you can actually change your situation. Most people who stay stuck financially don't stay stuck because of their income. They stay stuck because they've lost belief that anything they do will matter. A weekly money date rebuilds that belief, 1 week at a time. Let me put this into perspective. If you start this habit today, here's what your next 12 months could look like. By month 3, you've eliminated wasteful spending you didn't even know existed. You've probably found an extra $200 to $400 a month just by paying attention. By month 6, you have a growing emergency fund and a small but consistent investment portfolio. The anxiety that used to hit you every time you opened your bank app starts to fade. By month 12, you've saved and invested thousands of dollars. Not because you got a raise or won the lottery, but because you showed up for 15 minutes every single week and made your money behave. This is the part most financial advice gets wrong. They tell you to make more money. And sure, earning more helps. But if you don't have a system for managing what you already have, more money just means more waste. So here's what I need you to do. Open your calendar and block 15 minutes this week for your first money date. Set the alarm. Sit down with your money for 15 minutes and follow those 5 steps. Every dollar you redirect, every subscription you cancel, every $50 you invest brings you closer to a version of your life where money works for you instead of against you. And if you keep that habit going, something starts to shift, not just in your bank account, but in how you think about money. Because those small weekly actions are exactly what build the mindset most people never develop. There's a number that changes everything. It's not $1 million. It's not some massive inheritance or a lucky lottery ticket. It's $100,000. And the reason most people will never reach it has nothing to do with their salary, their job title, or where they grew up. It has everything to do with what's happening between their ears. Because $100,000 doesn't just show up. It's not about one lucky break. It's not about finding the right stock or landing the perfect job. It's about a total shift in how you think, how you spend, and how you see your own future. And today, I'm going to break down exactly what that mindset looks like, so you can start building it right now. Let's start with the brutal truth. According to recent data, roughly 57% of American adults say they're living paycheck to paycheck. The median savings account balance for a typical household sits around $8,000, and less than 3% of Americans have $1 million in their retirement accounts. So when we talk about $100,000, understand this: most people will never get there. Not because they can't earn the money, but because they never develop the mindset that makes it possible. They keep doing what everyone else does, spending everything they earn, waiting for some magic moment to start, and wondering why nothing ever changes. So what is this $100,000 mindset? It comes down to 5 key shifts that separate people who build wealth from people who just earn a living. The first shift is learning to pay yourself before you pay anyone else. Most people get their paycheck and immediately start covering bills, subscriptions, car payments, and whatever's left over at the end of the month maybe goes into savings. The $100,000 mindset flips that completely. You save and invest first, and then you figure out how to live on the rest. It sounds uncomfortable, because it is. But discomfort is the price of admission. Even if it starts at $200 a month, that money goes somewhere it can grow before you even think about spending. Set it up automatically so the decision is already made. Remove yourself from the equation. When saving becomes invisible, it becomes unstoppable. The second shift is treating time as your most valuable asset. Here's where compound interest becomes your best friend. Let's say you invest $500 a month at an average return of 8% a year. In roughly 11 years, you'll cross the $100,000 mark. But here's the part that blows people's minds. Going from $100,000 to $200,000 doesn't take another 11 years. It takes about 5. And going from $200,000 to $300,000 takes even less. That's because your money starts earning its own money. Time in the market is doing the heavy lifting, but only if you start. Every year you wait, you're not just losing a year, you're losing the compounding that year would have created for the next 20 or 30 years of your life. The third shift is overcoming the urge for instant gratification. Researchers at Stanford ran a study decades ago called the marshmallow test. They gave kids a simple choice: eat 1 marshmallow now, or wait 15 minutes and get 2. The kids who waited went on to score higher on tests, earn more money, and have better health outcomes as adults. Wealth building works the same way. Every financial decision is a marshmallow test. The new car you don't need, the vacation funded by credit cards, the wardrobe that impresses people who don't actually care. The $100,000 mindset says no to the small reward today so it can say yes to the massive reward tomorrow. This doesn't mean you live miserably. It means you spend with purpose. There's a huge difference between being cheap and being strategic. The fourth shift is building income, not just protecting it. Saving alone will not get you to $100,000 fast enough if your income stays the same. People with the wealth-building mindset are always asking one question: how do I make more? That could mean negotiating a raise, starting a side project, learning a skill that pays better, or building a small business on the side. The average millionaire has 7 streams of income. That's not a rumor. That's from research by Tom Corley, who spent 5 years studying the daily habits of wealthy people. You don't need 7 right now, but you need more than 1. The goal isn't to work yourself into the ground. The goal is to make your hours more valuable and create systems that generate money even when you're not working. The fifth shift, and maybe the most powerful one, is changing your identity. Most people have a money story running in the background of their mind. Things like, money is the root of all evil, or rich people are greedy, or people like me don't get wealthy. These beliefs are invisible, but they drive every financial decision you make. If you don't believe you deserve $100,000, your brain will sabotage every attempt to get there. You'll overspend. You'll avoid investing. You'll tell yourself, the timing isn't right. The $100,000 mindset requires you to rewrite that story. You start seeing yourself as someone who builds wealth, someone who makes smart financial decisions, someone who controls their money instead of being controlled by it. And once that identity shifts, your actions follow automatically. Now, let me bring this full circle. The reason the first $100,000 is the hardest isn't just because of the math. It's because of the transformation. To get to $100,000, you have to defeat bad habits, resist social pressure, delay gratification, learn new skills, and completely rewire how you think about money. That's why most people never get there. Not because it's impossible, but because it's uncomfortable. But once you push through that barrier, everything accelerates. The habits are locked in. The compound interest is working. The income streams are flowing. And the mindset that got you to $100,000 is the exact same mindset that will carry you to $500,000, to $1 million, and beyond. So here's your move. Pick one of these 5 shifts and commit to it this week. Pay yourself first. Start investing, even if it's small. Say no to one unnecessary purchase. Find one way to earn an extra $500 this month. Or sit down and write out the money beliefs that are holding you back. That's it. That's the start. Because the $100,000 mindset doesn't happen overnight, but it starts with one single decision. And that decision is yours to make right now. If this hit home, subscribe to Frankie Finance and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.